I blew that one, didn't I? Is what I love to do. And when the cows walk by, they say moo. My name is Dan Alsdurf on WDGY, the latest cat that's laying out the trash or pulling out the trash or eating some trash. I guess cats do all that. I am 71 years old. Been married to my lovely wife for 43 years. This is my lovely wife of 43 years, Peggy. She loves doing the texting thing, so she'll probably be texting at my funeral. Did you see how good he looked? About 3 years ago, I started a new adventure called cancer. So that's who I am. I mean, just a snippet. I mean, there's a whole lot more to me, but that would take a movie of the week kind of thing. Well, I grew up in the church. I mean, not in the church, but I grew up going to church. Faith was an important thing for my parents. In fact, a foundation for their lives, I would say. And so I was hearing the gospel message, throughout my whole life. And as a youngster, maybe 6, 7, I gave my heart to Jesus. But I really didn't understand what that meant until I was in my teen years. So it really became real to me. 3 years ago, well, it'll be 3 years from this coming December, I was diagnosed with stage 4 prostate cancer. So I have been on a cancer adventure for the last 3 years. I prefer to look at it as an adventure as opposed to something that's attacked me or something like that, because adventure means that you can have good times and you can have things that make life worth living and give you hope. An adventure that attacks the bones of prostate cancer. And I have stage 4, which means, in layman's term, the worst kind, because it's all over the body. And so I have a lot of it spread out through the back, the shoulders, a couple in my head, explains behavior, and then in the mid-range section. To me, I would rather laugh at things than be crying about things. That's just how I'm kind of built. And I also know that people can be very uncomfortable around people that have cancer. But when you use humor, that lightens up the mood, and people feel a little more free to be around you, and then you can have conversations about it. So I would say humor is really the foundation of how I can connect with people when we're chatting about things regarding serious health issues. Cancer doesn't mean you can't laugh. Doesn't mean you have to be, your face down, doom and gloom. It means that you have cancer, and how you approach that. I tend to approach it with humor and make it a fun thing. I mean, obviously it's not fun, but you can make fun of it. It's a way of giving the finger to cancer, because my life will end, but that doesn't mean that cancer wins. So this way you're just showing cancer, and a boo-boo. I showed you. When you're not facing something, your perspective on dying is it's way over there and nothing you have to worry about or think about. When you are dealing with that, it causes you to decide what your philosophy, what your stance is going to be. And for me, I look at it as through the lens of what can I do to honor God through this process? How can I lift up people? How can I encourage people? Because that, I think, is one of the things that God has directed me is lifting up people, encouraging people, redirecting sadness into hope. But when you get the confirmation you have stage 4 prostate cancer and death is going to be happening, you have to kind of then mentally and emotionally get your head around that. And initially, it's like you're kind of shocked and you're overwhelmed by it. But in time, I just felt like God was giving me a whole sense of peace, Peg as well. And then it was like, okay, this is real. And God, what do you want me to do to honor you? How do you want me to honor you? What would um, what would please you? And I just felt like God was reaffirming that He's given me gifts. One is humor, one is as an encourager, and so I've used that humor and encourager to help people that are either going through what I'm going through or something, in whatever they're going through, that there's hope and you can have joy, you can laugh throughout the day, you can do all the things you could do before. Um, the only difference is you know a little bit more about your future, but you can have a great life. You can have, more importantly, you can have a life that's honoring God, and that brings joy, and that brings hope, and it brings peace, and then you also focus more on the far future that that you're you were only going to be on this earth for so long, and then what comes after? Well, then you do tend to focus on what it's going to be like in heaven, and relatives and family, surprise people up there, that you never thought were going, and it just gives you a whole sense of peace. And I would say that was the big difference. I almost have a sense of guilt because I'm leaving them to um, pick up the pieces for themselves. We've been married for 43 years. Excuse me. And there's a lot of life invested together. And then my kids and my grandkids, friends, hopefully you leave a hole, but not too big a hole, because you want them to be able to go on, and you want them to feel God's presence in their life daily. There are days that I feel a lot more peace about it than others. Um, you are going to miss out on the rest of what's going on in their lives, and that's it. So it takes a while to kind of wrap your heart around that. Well, it's kind of like a reunion. I mean, first, obviously, connecting with Jesus, doing fist pumps, spending time in His presence, just getting to know who I've read about and learned about all my life. And, I think I'd like to touch the holes in His hands and do all that stuff. And just having a time with Him that lets me know that everything I read about Him and everything I've heard about Him is so much less than what His beauty and His majesty is. And I'd also like to spend some time getting to know the disciples, and then I'll probably check out where the family is. Hey mom, hey dad, and her mom and dad, and family and friends and stuff, and being surprised by people that I never thought would make it there, and just saying, "How did you get here? I never thought you'd." So, I mean, I have an eternity to spend in what I have no idea is heaven. I mean, it's going to be so much better than what I could even envision in my mind. So, I think it's good. I think the Vikings finally win a Super Bowl. Well, I think what I would say, everybody out there, myself included, we're all going through an adventure in life. You can look at it like that, or you can look at life as being a drudgery, a terrible thing because it's all woe is me. But I would say, if you're really looking to make life um, something that's worth living, whether you're going through a cancer adventure, whether you're 12 years old and you're just going through adolescence, whether you're just got married, whatever your part in life where you find yourself, We're all in life's adventure, and making an adventure, but making an adventure that is focused on what you can do to honor God. Because when you do that, the adventure is it's wonderful because it's you have such a feeling of peace and joy through it all. And people like to be happy. Happy is the emotion that you're up and down, but joy is something that stays with you. And if you can have a life that's full of joy, you've had a happy life. And if you've had that joy, it's going to only come from one source, and that's Jesus. So that's what I would say is, find Jesus. He's not hard to find. He's right next to you. And then just ask him, how can I honor you? How can I bless you? And the joy and the peace and all the stuff follows after that. And you will find your life is full. And you might even be lucky enough to marry a beautiful woman like my wife for 43 years. And don't repeat this, but she's kind of sexy too. Well, I'm glad I'm here for you, Seth. Just use your power in any way you choose. Because you are the man.